Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Due to COVID-19, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx webinar, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will make their presentation to the committee via WebEx, which is moderated by staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing can do by watching on YouTube. My name is Isaac Lalouz. I'll be chairing the hearing. Members joining me today are Ms. Atarodi, Ms. Manning, Mr. Bartolo, and Mr. Klassen. City staff assisting us in directing the moderating platform are Simon Lamb, who is has been promoted to manager and deputy secretary treasurer, Sam Samone and Alex Chu. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you call on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is called. During this time, your camera will be enabled and you will only be visible during your 5-minute allocated time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. And members of the public and participants are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during the video appearance. If you do so, you will be removed from the panelists section. Land acknowledgments. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances, to the Ontario Lands Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. For hearing procedures, I will be called each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentations if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined on the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make the presentation. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will be taken to committee for a decision. Now, for this, we still have no minutes, and for this afternoon session, any conflict of interest to declare? No? Okay. Now, for the deferrals, we have a number of deferrals this afternoon, and the first one is item number 29. Item number 29, which is 28 Broadleaf application number 29. And here we have Michael Shirzadfar. Are you there? Michael Shirazfar.
Mr. Chair, sorry, which item are we?
Application number 29. 29, which is 28 Broadleaf, which is asking for a deferral. We have to deal with the deferrals first before we go to the main agenda.
Mr. Chair, the applicant, because we received a updated sort of notification of who would be the applicant speaking, and that's a Joel Tanner. Joel, you're unmuted.
Thank you so much. This is Joel Tanner with Simple Design Studio.
Hi, are you here for application for the 29 Broadleaf?
28 Broadleaf, that's correct. Yeah, we are seeking deferral today as we are working with community planning staff.
Right,
yes.
right. Yeah, 20. I meant 29 item, which is 28 Broadleaf. Okay. All right. So could you please tell us why you're asking for a deferral?
Yeah, so there's a bit of a discrepancy on the property to the west of us. And so we're doing some additional survey work right now in order to take that information back to community planning staff in order to seek their support on the file before coming back to the committee with a revised application, hopefully the latter part of 2022.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I made a mistake as far as the name. You're Lindsay Bruce, aren't you?
This is Joel Tanner, and Lindsay Bruce is my colleague here at the office.
Very good. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have no more speakers except you. We'll see what the members are saying. Any question they're asking for a deferral, and there is no other speaker. Any question, Miss Athar?
No. No question. I am ready for the motion.
Please go ahead.
So, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application so that the applicant have time to provide update survey, and also this is also staff request for deferral for further discussion. So, sine die.
Sine die. Thank you. Second, Mr. Klassen, seconding. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Sir, your application is deferred sine die. Check with the staff when it's coming back.
Thank you so much, committee. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, so that's Broadleaf. There you go. The next one is item number 33, which is 19 REINER Road. Application number 33. And here we have... see who's here, 33. 33, we have Mark Loof. Are you there? I guess there is another one, Paul Guest, who wants to speak for the deferral.
Paul, you're unmuted.
Yes, I would like to speak to the deferral, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's Paul Guest from Betts Pools.
Thank you. Okay, so we're not having Mark Loof. You're going to speak. Okay, could you tell us, please, the reason for the deferral?
Due to the customer requested a redesign of the cabana, we haven't got all the variances back from the reviewer. We're working with the city now to get them back, and we would like to defer it to another meeting.
For a design.
There may be additional variances.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because this had only one variance, so you want to redesign it. Okay,
Mhm.
fine. We don't have anybody else here?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We have nobody else here, just the speaker, and he heard the request. Any question? If not, can I have a motion for the deferral? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll put forward a motion to defer this application sine die to allow the applicant to redesign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, sir, your application is deferred unanimously, sine die, and check with the staff when it's coming back.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, the next one is item number 36, which is 50 Finch Avenue. And here, 36 Finch Avenue. And here we have Michelle Tiger, are you there?
Mr. Chair, the applicant is not present. However, they have submitted a letter requesting for deferral that is now shown on the screen.
Okay, so just in a letter, but there is no, the person is not going to show her. Mr. Moderator, would the letter be acceptable? He's asking for deferral, but he's not here. We'll take it. Thank you. Okay, so, but before we go there, we have here Naziar Gudarzi. Are you there? Naziar Gudarzi. She's an area resident, I think, who's registered here to speak. Do you know if she's around? Or he?
Mr. Chair, I do not see that person in the call.
No, they're not there. Okay, so we just get the members. There is, what does the letter say, the reason for the deferral, Mr. Chu? Oh, it's there. I can't see it so far. What does it say? Do you want to read it? Please, yeah, just read, see what the reason is for it, so the members can know what the reason is.
Oh, say that again?
Yeah, just the reason,
Mr. Chair, through you, they're requesting a deferral of the application as the applicants are in the process of resolving outstanding issues.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, the request, the person is not present, but they sent a letter saying that they have to resolve some outstanding issues, and therefore they're asking for deferral. Can I have a motion for deferral, please? Mr. Tarodi?
Through you, Mr. Chair, would like to put forward a motion to defer this application for further design,
Yeah,
consultation, and working on the plan. It's sine die.
thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen seconding, all in favor? Thank you, unanimously. So it's unanimously deferred sine die. You can record that. That's number 36, and that's the end of the deferrals. Is there any other deferral, Mr. Secretary? Is there any other one registered for deferral? No, that's it. Okay, that's all I had. I had number 29, 33, and 36. Okay, 36. All right, so now we start the afternoon session, and that will be number 18, which is 77 RISEBROUGH application 77. Application 18, 77 RISEBROUGH. Okay, so we have 18, and here we have Michael Shirazdfar. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Yes, my name is Michael Shazadfar. I'm the agent on behalf of the homeowner at 77 RISEBROUGH.
Thank you. So we have this here is for a pool cabana. Staff report modify number 1 and refuse it, modify. Yeah, you indicated to staff that you want to change variance number 1 and
That is correct. So we had proposed 81.98 square meters. On behalf of staff and planning that had some concerns with the overall FSI, we both agreed that coming down to 78 square meters is more feasible and to get staff's support for it.
so
So that's our proposal before you is for 78 square meters basically now.
78 square meters, huh? What's the what the
Or
variance?
70, I believe whatever it's written in the staff report, so I believe it was 77 I'll tell you exactly, 77.76 square meters.
Well, yeah, from 81.98 to 77.76. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Now we have a late submission from the counselor regarding refusal. I didn't see that letter. Anyways, let's see. Members, there is nobody registered here except for the agent, and he's changing variance number 1 from 81.98 to 77.76, and there is a forestry condition. Any question? Mr. Secretary, there is a late letter from the counselor. Apparently was sent this afternoon. Item number 18, RISEBROUGH. There was a letter from counselor. What does it say? You have looked at it. Well, you just sent it to the members. Counselor, I guess he's asking for refusal. Okay, members, any question? No?
No question, but Miss Councillor Fillion's letter, it said that the size of this instruction at nearly 78 square meters in area and 4 meters in height will be disruptive to neighbors. So that was one of the sentences that Councillor Fillion mentioned in his letter.
Okay. So, the applicant is changing this one to 77, which is compatible with the staff report. So,
Staff
can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to it being variance number 1 being revised to 77.76 meters and subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Klassen seconding, in favor? Opposed? No? Miss Tarodi, your hand was late. Is it for or against?
Against?
Against? Okay, Mr. Tarodi is opposing it. All right, sir, your application is approved, subject to the change you made to 77.76 and subject to forestry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 19, which is 35 CHARNWOOD Road, 35 CHARNWOOD Road. And that is 19, that's Mr. Muhammad Ali Al-Hamawi. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Could you please state your name and address for us?
Mohammed Al-Hamawi, 35 Charnwood Road, North York, M3B 2P7.
Okay, we have here second story above the garage, 2 variances, minor, we have nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation here? No? Okay, sir, we don't need any presentation. do you want to make any comments or changes, or you just go to committee?
You can go to committee.
Thank you. Members, if no questions, can I have a motion? I have 2 hands here.
Yes.
3 hands. Okay, again, can I have a motion? Ms. Atarodi.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, it's a very straightforward application. Therefore, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. Second? Second, Mr. Bartolo, seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, sir, your application is approved with no conditions.
Thank you.
You made a good presentation.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Number 20, which is 31 KAPPELE Avenue, KAPPELE, application number 20, which we, and here we have Mustafa Khalil. Mustafa Khalil, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, committee. My name is Mustafa Khalil to MK Architect. I'm here representing the client.
Okay. Now we have, this is for a 2-story rear addition, 3 variances, but we have one more area resident to speak. Therefore, we need you to make a very short presentation, please.
Okay, sure. So what we have is an existing house, is a small in size, and we are doing very minor addition. The addition only on the ground floor and the second floor. To extend, to increase the size of the bedroom, the master bedroom, much needed for the family of my client. So the addition is on the ground floor, it's 6.49 meter, and addition on the second floor is 13.7 meter. There is no addition on the basement. That's all about it. So we are 3 variances. The first one is the FSI is the required is 0.69, and we are making it 0.74. And the other is the setback on the south side, which is required is 0.45, and we are doing it 0.12, like 12 centimeter. And this is to match the existing location of the house. The other variance is the eaves, which is also related to the, let's say, the line of the footprint of the existing house.
That's it?
So we request the committee to for approval because we believe it's minor in nature. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll see what this resident has to say. We got here Anthony Aguchi. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and address for the system here?
Can I state my name?
Yeah, your name and your address.
Anthony Aguichi. Anthony Aguichi, 29 KAPPELE Avenue.
Thank you. So tell us what's your concern about this application.
The only question I have is there any windows facing the south side?
Okay, that's the only question you have? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have the agent respond to that question. And members, if there is no question, we'll move to the agent. Mr. Khalil, can you please respond to that question?
Yeah, for sure. There is no any window opening to the south side because we are so close to the property line, and the code would not allow us to open any window. So I'm just confirming to the neighbor that there isn't any window opening on the south side.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? And if not, can I have a motion then, please? Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I convinced that this is a very minor in nature, and I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
No conditions, thank you. Second? Ms. Manning, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is unanimously approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number 21, which is 399 Elm Road. And here we have Hamid Behesht. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Hi.
Arjang Behesht from Homeland at 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Okay, we have here new dwelling, 10 variances, transportation, no objection, 1 letter of objection. So could you please make a small presentation due to the 10 variances that are, so explain the merit of it, okay?
Yes, of course, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to the committee members and committee staff. If I could please ask committee staff to kindly display slide number 1 of the latest presentation package, which was actually updated due to the few neighbors' letters. If I could please ask to see that slide, I will begin my presentation. Slide number 1 of that package, please.
Unfortunately, we have some delay, so if you can start, because
Sure.
Yeah.
you're coming with a little bit of delay.
Yeah, until we display it, could you please keep going on?
Yes, certainly. So I'd like to begin by explaining minor variance number 1, which is about the width of these stairs. And actually, this is a corner property, and the proposed has one entrance to the exterior side of the street. Because it is a corner, it has 2 streets and basically 2 elevations. And that width increase in the stair happens only at the side elevation, which itself is a wider width that we see from the streetscape. And that width of the stair actually matches, is in better proportion to the width of that front elevation. Most importantly, yes, wonderful. So we can see what I'm talking about better, that the width of the stair matches the width of the elevation itself. But most importantly, the increase in width happens only to 1 step. It's the step which is highlighted in blue, because the foyer is actually only 1 step off of the ground elevation, and so the increase only happens to 1 step. If I can go on to second slide, I would like to explain the front yard green area reduction. And that happens again because the lot is a corner. The curvature of the street is actually very severe. There's a big curve on the street, and which has translated to the property line, which has reduced the area of both our front yard area, and all of the reduction has been taken from the green space, which would have otherwise been included in our front yard area and the front yard landscaping. Wonderful, yeah, we can see that now at the top, which is the top diagram is what exists and what is proposed. And at the bottom diagram, if we can slightly scroll, it would be the comparison to if our lot was a normal interior lot, and the area which I'm talking about, which has been reduced now, would have otherwise been added to the total area, and the minor variance which exists now would have otherwise been taken away. We can see that the porch steps and the porch itself are minimally sized, and the driveway is only 5.5 meters wide, while it could be by law up to 6 meters wide. So the areas which have taken away from the green area are themselves minimally sized, and most importantly, that curvature which separates us from the city area is actually imaginary. It doesn't exist. The green space of the city continues much further than what our property line is until the street actually begins. So the green area is actually much more than what we have highlighted there in green. If I can turn to the next slide, I will talk about the lot coverage, which has been increased based on a big study from us of the area. We have found 43 examples, all from a 500-meter radius from our proposal, all from streets which are very close to our subject property. And those average of those examples that we found have been at 38.7% lot coverage, which is similar to what we are proposing. If I could please see slide number 5, I will talk about the sidewall height increase, which has only happened at areas which are highlighted in the diagram at slide number 5. Are slight areas highlighted in pink, which are only areas on the second floor of the home which face the sides of the home for attaining natural light. The rest of the sidewall heights of the home are at 7.14 meters, which is actually below than what is allowed by law at 7.5 meters. And finally, slide number 6 talks about the encroachment of the deck, which is very, very minor. If we can see the diagram, it would be just a slight stripe in blue, which is very little compared to the total area of the deck, which can be built by law, which would be highlighted in yellow. And finally, the height, which has only been occurred in the old bylaw, because the old bylaw delineates height by taking it from the crown of road to the midpoint of the roof, which is a line that virtually doesn't exist. The new bylaw takes the building height from the established grade where the building actually begins to the very, very top of the roof, which delineates the main look of the building. And our new, our height aligns with the requirement of the new bylaw. That concludes my presentation. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? If no question, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, these variances are minor. They are in keeping. There's no objection from staff. I'd like to move to approve these variances and make them subject to urban forestry. Thank you.
Second? Ms. Attarodi seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Unanimously, sir, your application is approved unanimously, subject to forestry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, members of the committee.
Thank you. Okay, so application number 22, which is 79 Chudley Avenue, application number 22. And here we have Sherwin Farzam. Are you there? Bahboudi. Sherwin Farzam Bahboudi. Are you there?
This is Sherwin Farzam.
Yeah, you're there. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Is my mailing address, and I'm representing the owners for this project.
Okay, and yeah, we have here it's just a rear addition and third floor addition, 2 variances, 1 letter of support, but we have 14 letters of objection, and we have here a number of speakers. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation so we can go back to you again. So give us a presentation as to the merit of your application.
To committee members, but anyhow, I'm gonna start with the main culture of these 2 items is minor, and if you look at the area, there is a tree property I find is much matching to our design in the height. Anyhow, the existing building is a 38% living space, have a 38% living space. 73% addition in the back of the house, and also adding the 1 lounge on. If you go to the page 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe, you see the design in the area.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have a bit of a delay in the presentation, so if the applicant can just continue speaking, we'll try.
Do they hear us if I tell him something?
No, there's a bit of a delay in the
He won't
presentations.
hear, okay. Thank you.
Shervin, you're unmuted. We currently cannot hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying number 88, it's very similar to what we're proposing in the area. And the number of the more houses in the one floor in the top floor and doing addition in the back. So we are matching the criteria of the adjacent neighborhood. Are asking just two minor, very minor variances in this area. Any questions? Anything I can help?
Okay. Well, we have to hear the other speakers. We have tons of speakers here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who want to speak to this. Just before we go, you made a comment on the number 2 variance. The required is 30. I mean the allowed is 0.35, and you're asking 0.73. What's the existing before the addition? Do you know what the existing FSI?
Sorry?
The existing FSI before.
Existing is at 38%.
How much? 38?
Yes, correct.
Oh, 38, and you're going to 73. Okay. All right. So we'll hear the other speakers, and we'll come back to you. Here we have Jennifer. Jennifer Frank. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, I've been advised that Jennifer does not wish to speak.
She doesn't wish to speak. Okay. And Marjorie Shern. Marjorie Shrin, are you there?
Marjorie.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and your own address for us?
My name is Marjorie Sharon. My address is 75 Chudley Avenue. I'm the owner resident.
Thank you. Tell us, please, what's your concern about this application?
I have submitted to you a detailed list of my concerns, but I'll speak to them as well. I'm concerned about the gross floor area, which the permitted is 35 and the proposed is 73. I'm also opposed to the maximum height, which with the mansard roof that he's proposing, which is inconsistent with anything else on the street, leads to a massive overbuild. And I'm concerned that this was identified as attic space. It clearly isn't with the addition of the mansard roof. And it's inconsistent with anything on the street when it has a Juliet balcony on the front and the back. There is nothing like this on the street. I'm also concerned about drainage because the homes on Cheriton behind us are higher, and the residents on this street have always been concerned about flooding in their basements. And with this build going so much further back than other houses around and losing that green space, we're concerned that the drainage will be an issue here. I'm also concerned that there was no plan given for the front yard. So I don't know if there's any drainage provided there, because that could also be a concern with water going into the water sewage.
Marjorie,
I've also found that
Marjorie, just a second. I hate to interrupt you, but just to save you, to help you, we don't deal with the drainage here. There is the building department. Before the permits, they have to show all these things. We can talk about this the whole night. We can't do anything about it. We don't deal with the drainage here. So just tell us.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so tell us. Please.
Thank you.
Okay.
There is also, at the moment, there is also a mutual drive with an attached garages. I don't see anything that pertains to that. And with the size of the addition, I'd be concerned about turnaround space for the neighbors. They can speak to this themselves, but I've noticed that. I'm also concerned that the applicant has presented pictures of other homes on the street, particularly 74, which he says is similar to the design he's presenting. I know that home very well. I can also tell you that there was not one objection to the building of that home compared to the number of objections there are to this. I also note that that home has dormers set well back, small dormers set way back, and is nothing like this front view with a Juliet balcony. I rest my case. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this speaker? No, okay. Next speaker is Jeffrey Wilson. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, the Wilsons are not on the call, and I've been advised that they weren't going to be speaking.
They're not, okay. So they're not coming back. John and Holly Helborn, are you there?
Just a moment there. Simon will be putting them on speaker.
Okay, John, you can speak.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Helborn, could you please state your name and address for us?
My name is John Hilborn. I live at 73 Chudley Avenue.
Thank you. Sorry we had a problem before when you wanted to speak to the other application, and something happened with the system. So anyways, please go ahead and tell us what's your concern about this particular application.
Yes, I'm sorry. My computer crashed last week and I couldn't seem to get my speakers to work. Anyway, we'll try this. Okay. So this is 79 Chudley we're talking about. So my objection essentially echoes Peter and Donna White's, who are most affected because they share a driveway. And I think, on Chudley, we're objecting to the size of this addition and also the streetscape. There's some kind of balcony or something overlooking the street, and at the back. Those can invade privacy and don't think that they're appropriate. The other thing is concern about street parking and the mutual drive and the difficulty having a huge house go all the way back. There will be nowhere to turn around at the back. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you perfectly. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. So those are the primary objections. The height is more than is allowed. The gross size is more than allowed. And frankly, we are, as a neighbor, close neighbor, not not wanting to approve this in its existing form. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Okay, thank you. The next one is Geraldine Sparrow. Are you there?
Geraldine, you're unmuted. I've also unmuted Jerry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please state.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please?
Geraldine Sparrow, 77 Chudley Avenue.
Thank you. Tell us what's your concern, please.
All right. I will briefly review my written submissions, which had a number of attachments to them that I hope you have had time to look at. Like everybody else, I think 0.73 is just too large. This is a smaller lot than 83, and overall, it will be absolutely overwhelming in general streetscape appearance and to everyone. I refer mainly to the decision of Karen Sloan of the Ontario Municipal Board, which I have attached, dated December 17, 2015, allowing expansion to 0.61 on this exact property. The Committee of Appeal dismissed that application, and it went on appeal to the OMB, was settled at 0.61 and ruled to be 0.61 as appropriate, and referred to a survey of the area. There have been no changes on this side of the street since that time, either in the next door neighbors or up and down to the east and west. I have included that decision. I urge you to look at it. I also include a memo of the Municipal Licensing and Standards Department of the City called Enforcement of OMB Decisions, stating, page 3, paragraph 2, that OMB decisions may be in effect for the life of the property, particularly where there has been no redevelopment. There's been no redevelopment here. That property is sat empty, and for various reasons. And in my view, that decision prevails. And even if you find that it doesn't, it certainly indicates, being based on a survey, et cetera, and a finding by the OMB, that certainly provides strong guidance as to the appropriate size. You'll see that there are conditions attached. Number 1 being that there be no habitable third floor. And number 2, that the maximum height be 10 meters. And I also attached minutes of settlement between myself and lawyer Amber Stewart on behalf of the applicant or the appellant at the time. And the most important one to me is what was provided to prevent damage to my foundation. The distance between the houses is very small, 0.6 and 0.9, already in violation of the 1.2 requirement for a side set. That's just the way the houses were built. But I was told by an engineer at the time that deepening and enlarging of that basement would crack my foundation, and therefore lawyer Stewart agreed to that a certificate of an engineer would be attached to an application for the building permit, and a certificate that there would be no damage to the foundation. There was also an agreement to provide waterproofing to my basement because the property slopes west to east, and it was acknowledged there's already been water damage, and that would be addressed. And that was agreed to with a very experienced lawyer in your domain. I know Toronto versus Contact Realty, decision of the Superior Court, 2001. Justice Leary says that impact on surroundings is extremely important in deciding if a variance is minimal. In my view, this is not a minimal variance for the reasons I've given, the oversize, potential damage. They're lowering from 7 to 10 feet that basement and putting in a theater and a gymnasium. And this is not the kind of small, narrow North Toronto property that merits a 10-foot deep basement with a theater and a gymnasium, and it will cause damage to my property. So in my view, it is simply not a minor variance at all, and there's danger to neighboring properties. I'll let the other neighbors deal with the driveway situation. With all due respect, I'd object to the applicant making any variation on his application orally in reply. That doesn't give us any chance to respond to them. And in my view, certainly this application be rejected, but various variations on that application done orally at the end, simply, in my view, as a legal professional, are not appropriate because they don't give us any chance to respond, which is crucial. And at the very least, this should come back, but I think it should be rejected. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Okay. Next speaker is Donna and Peter White. Are you there?
Yes, we are here.
Can you please state your name and address for the record to be recorded here?
Donna and Peter White. We live at 81 Chudley Avenue.
Thank you. So tell us what's your concern.
Well, our concerns are the very same concerns that we had this morning when you were considering 83 Chudley's development, and we see what your decision was on that. We are now going to be living between two massive builds. We do not consider a 0.73 GFA a minor variance. I think we believe it to be excessive. We do not believe that the height of 10.3 meters of this structure to be minor. We believe it to be excessive. And all of the points that my neighbors have addressed on their own behalf and on our behalf have been detailed in the letter of submission that we sent in. I will add this, though. Can the applicant of 79 Chudley Avenue address the mutual driveway that our two properties share? And we have determined that in order to use the garage as a parking space, there is a radius at the end of the easement of 2.6 meters that allows for a car to maneuver onto the subject property before the end of the mutual right-of-way intersecting the property line. They have not taken this into consideration. The site plan provided that the applicants intersects that radius. And we're asking the Committee of Adjustments to take a closer look at that. And there is not a proper access to the rear yard parking spot. We also share a common garage, and they have not addressed that at all either. So we don't know whether they're intending to demolish that half of our shared garage. We don't know how they're going to address the mutual drive either. If they need to encroach on our property, I will say this, that will not happen. And we are asking that the applicant go back and do some remeasuring in terms of the depth of their addition. And I think that's about all we need to say.
Thank you. Any question? Could you remove that? Okay. Any question? No? Okay. So we'll call back the agent. And, okay, Sherwin, are you, Behboudi, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, so
well,
can you please address
what I find one of the major.
You're cutting off,
sorry?
sir. Could you please speak up and answer those questions, please?
You hear me clearly?
We hear you, but you're cutting off. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. What I understand is one driveway and the parking at the back. We didn't receive any note or anything, any application from the transportation. However, we are driveway and we are not going to be changing anything on the garage. The garage was going to be existing garage, going to be stay there, unless the neighbor asking changing the same time because the mutual garage both for both of the neighbors. Secondary is about basement height is 9 feet. from 6 feet to 9 feet. We're gonna do the underpinning. On base of the underpinning, we need to put a new drainage to the house. Water's problem, even gonna be collecting the water from the neighbors nearby, especially on the 75. So recently, and the new owner take a place, and I don't had any idea. The previous owner went to the negotiation with the neighbors, but anyhow, this is a new case, new presentation, new. It's not a brand new development. It's just an addition, underpinning on the basement, and also addition the back and the launch in the second, on the third floor. If you take the house is there is so many houses in that criteria using the attic space as a living space, or doing the addition in the back, Chudleigh, or the 88 is these two is a brand new renovated, and one of them, number 88, just sold in the markets. I don't know any other concern they have or any question committee have from me.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this gentleman? Okay, so can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, before us are two variances, 1 and 2. The first is in building height. The second is floor space index. I think variance 1 is minor in that neighborhood. Variance 2, given other approvals in the past, I would also argue is minor. Therefore, I'll move to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Second, Ms. Satarodi. All in favor? Opposed? There is one missing, eh? There is one member is missing, eh? Mr. Bartolo, eh? Is Mr. Bartolo there? Okay, I guess he stepped out. Maybe you can record that Mr. Bartolo is absent. Okay, so we have 2-4, and Ms. Manning is opposing. So, sir, your application is approved, and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 23, which is 89 Norton Avenue. And here we have Hamid Bashet. Are you there?
Good afternoon. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hi, can you please state your name and your address, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members and committee staff. This is Hamid Behesht from Homeland. I am the co-designer of the house from 49 Wycliffe Crescent in Toronto.
Okay, we have here, this is for a new dwelling. We have 7 variances, forestry condition, and staff report has just a condition to build per east and west elevation drawing. However, we have 2 people here to speak up, and therefore we need you to make a 5-minute presentation.
No problem, Mr. Chair, but before I start my presentation, I would like to ask for a correction, please, on item 7. There has been a typo in item 7. This is not a part of bylaw 569/2013. So I would like you please to, at the end of the first sentence, remove 569/2013 and replace it with 7625, please.
Hold a second. We'll see if that doesn't make any difference to the thing, because if it needs circulation, Mr. Secretary, could you please look?
Is this, sorry, is this item number 7?
Only number 7, yes. And I already informed the committee staff, and they asked me to simply announce the change here. It's not a big, it's just a typo, and I don't believe it needs recirculation.
So everything after note, or the entire note portion?
No, not the note. Just at the end of the first sentence, which reads section 14A8, bylaw number, after number, that 569/2013 needs to be removed and replaced with 7625.
It's
just that number.
Yeah, that's fine.
It said 7625.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what it said already.
No, it says 569/2013.
Mine it said 7629. I have it right here.
Number 7?
Yeah, that's, Mr. Chair, that's the end of the last sentence. I'm talking about the first sentence.
The bolded section.
Oh, okay.
That's fine, we can change that.
Okay, so it doesn't require any, okay, so please, because we have a number of speakers, please go ahead and make your presentation.
No problem if I ask Alex or Sam to show slide number 1, please, so I can start my presentation. While we're waiting for that, I just explained that slide number 1, it shows the as of right size of the deck, including its depth and projection in highlighted yellow. I just simply have added a tiny stripe, which is shown in color pink, to the depth of the deck, which increases it from 2.5 meters to 2.9 meters, which is only 40 centimeter or 16-inch increase. Simply because I want the homeowners to be comfortable with their deck and be able to put a decent-sized table and a few chairs around it and enjoy their wooden deck at their backyard. It is very, very minor and tiny increase. In slide number 2, if everybody can see it, please. I have shown the extent of the canopies between the first and second floor to the side setbacks. These little extensions have been shown in color blue. These are very tiny stripes of the extension of these canopies to the sides, because simply I wanted the look and the front view of this house to be seen as a three-dimensional thing, not only to the front. So I wanted to extend it a little bit furthermore to the left and right side, so it will look three-dimensional piece of kind of art. And then in slide number 3, if we can see, thank you. Here, I have shown the extension of the height of the sidewalls in 2 different colors. The pink colors are the extra height for the creation of the second floor windows only. As you can see, in both the left and right side elevations, we have the same. It is happening only around and above the second floor windows. And the second extension is are shown in color blue, which is the extension of the front of the house a little bit to the left and right side, as I explained, only because I want this house to be seen as a three-dimensional thing. And because of the modern characteristics of this house, I wanted to extend it a little bit to the left and right side. These extensions are a small portion of the sidewalls, while the vast majority of the sidewalls stay at 7.55 meters. And finally, on slide 4, we can see the technical issue, which I just corrected at the very item number 7, which is the height of the house only happening within the requirements of the old bylaw. The very last remaining item of this old bylaw, which I believe it was that if it was not because of the COVID it would have been removed long time ago. And that's because of a weird and unusual, illogical method of measurement, which used to be from the crown of road, which I believe has nothing to do with the building, to the midpoint of the roof, which is an imaginary line which doesn't exist. While the real height of the building, which you can see by the pink arrows at the right, is measured correctly within the new bylaw, citywide Toronto bylaw, starting from the established grade where the building starts, logically to the highest point of the building, which makes total sense. And in this case, the height of the building can be up to 10 meters. Ours stays at 9.99. So we don't really have a height variance for this house. Thank you so much, and I will wait for the neighbors to speak.
Thank you. The next one is Ken Chen. Are you there? Ken Chen. Do you know if he's online? Hello, Ken Chen?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, Ken Chin, 91 Norton Avenue. I'm the immediate neighbor to the west.
Good. So tell us, please, what's your concern about the application?
Yes, and I do apologize. I think there was a misunderstanding on my part in terms of the timing, and maybe this was addressed like in the prior comments. My main concern.
Hello. Could you please speak slowly, because you're going fast and we don't hear you. Slowly, please.
My main concern are in regards to the height of the building, the external walls. So that's items 6 and 7.
Okay.
So my question is really, the maximum height is 7.5 meters for the exterior walls, and they're proposing 9.1. Is this is 9.1 in line with newer builds in the neighborhood, and is this too high for what they're looking to achieve here?
Okay, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, any question for this gentleman? No question. Okay, we'll have the agent comes back and he'll talk about it, okay? We'll have them come explain it. So we still have one speaker here before, and that is Shumin Jung. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you please please state your name and address? Your name and address.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. My name is Shumi Zhang. I'm in 87 Norton Avenue, just beside the application of in 89 Norton Avenue.
Okay, and tell us what's your concern. What's your concern?
Yeah, I have a few concerns about the new building. And one is, first of all, is the item 2 shows that the canopy will be 0.52 meter into the west. That means that will be closer and larger than the government permitted. And I think that will be a little bit too wide, because if in the future, if I want to build a new house, I want more than the permitted wide. That will result in the two houses has no enough space between us. It's one concern. And if that happened, that will significantly change the neighborhood's character. And another concern is the height of the wall. The height of the wall will be 9.11 meters. It's too much. It's more than one meter than the permitted maximum height of the wall, because my room, where I'm literally sitting in the room, just face my neighbor. And if they build so high the building, that will block the natural light. And I spend most of the time in this room, literally in this room. That will become darker and significantly impact my life. And also the building's height is more than 1 meter's height, more than 10% of the maximum height, the permitted maximum height. I think it's too much. That's all my concerns. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any question? Okay, so I think this is the end of the neighbors. And Mr. Hamid, could you please come back and respond to those concerns?
Absolutely, Mr. Chair and committee members, I delivered a letter to all the adjacent neighbors, including the left and right side neighbors who just spoke, and asked them to call me. Okay, thank you so much. That's the exact same letter. Ask if they need any explanation, if they need to see the drawing. And I attempted twice to reach them, and unfortunately, I don't know for what reason they didn't call me. I could simply explain all of this already to them, so they wouldn't spend time to wait for hours for this meeting. That's okay. I can explain to everybody right now. First, I would like to see slide number 1 to remove a misunderstanding from the neighbor at the right side, number 87. If I, Sam, see slide number 1, please. The right side neighbor has misunderstood the extent of the canopy to the side yard setback, and she, I believe, believes that the whole building is closer to inform her that the required side yard setbacks for this house is 1.2. Slide number 1, please, which shows the site plan. My proposed side yard setback is 1.29. It means that I have pushed the buildings further away from both neighbors by 9 centimeters. So I'm not making the house closer to your properties. I'm actually making it farther. What you see in item number 2 is just tiny bit of the extension of the canopy only. A very wide canopy, which can be seen on slide number 2, or maybe front elevation, whichever Sam would like to show. It is a tiny portion of the canopy only, not the building itself, which is closer to your property by like 50 centimeters. Just okay. These are the 2 tiny stripes shown in color blue. It doesn't have any impact on any of the neighboring properties. Now, in terms of the height, which was the both neighbors, I would like Sam to show slide number 3, please. This time, so that slide number 3, if you can show both left and right side at the same time, kindly, to zoom out a little bit so both neighbors can see. Perfect. You see, ma'am and gentlemen, the extra height, as I explained before, and I'm happy that this time you can see both sides. This is what you are going to see from your houses. That extra height is not for the whole house. And that's just the extra height for a little bit portion of the side walls. You see these pink areas, the height has been increased tiny bit for the creation of the second floor windows only. If I don't do that, basically this house cannot have a second floor window. I'm sure many houses, including, if I'm not mistaken, number 91 at the left side, has been designed the same way. I know number 87 is older homes, but vast majority of the newer builds of the North York area, in Willowdale area, have the same issue. Actually, it is based on the type of the designs of these houses, which the side of the walls need to be increased a tiny bit in order for the second floors to have windows to the sides. And then those tiny blue areas are the extension of the front walls a little bit to the sides, because I really architecturally is wrong if I cut them only at the front, because the house is a three-dimensional thing. It's not, the house cannot be built on a piece of paper, so it's not a two-dimensional object. I have to make it three-dimensional, and I have to extend those front walls a little bit to the left and right side, so it will look more beautiful, and it's better for everybody, the whole neighborhood, the whole area, including you two neighbors. So I believe both items were misunderstanding, and I hope that this misunderstanding is away. Thank you so much. I almost are out of time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, any question? No questions? Can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Claflin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I appreciate the presentation by the applicant and the clear answers he was able to provide to the neighbors. In total, the variances are minor. They are in keeping with the neighborhood and in keeping with the 4 tests. So I'd like to move to approve the application and make it subject to urban forestry.
Thank you. And there is the staff condition to build per east and west elevation drawing. Eh?
Please, yes, include that as well in my motion.
Thank you. Second.
Thank you.
Second, Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Yeah, your application is unanimously approved, subject to condition, and the staff condition of the build in accordance with east and west elevation drawing. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, committee members and committee staff.
Thank you. Okay. Number okay, number 24. Number 24, which is 71 Park Lane Circle, application number 24. And here we have Christine Deng. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Christine Deng, and my address is 1100 Golden Baker Road.
Thank you. So we have here, this is a new dwelling, 6 variances, staff reports asking to modify. You indicated to staff that you want to modify variance number 3, and I have the change here, and there is forestry. Could you please make your presentation and cover the change you want to make, because we have some more people to speak on this application.
Yeah, yes, we have discussion with community panel, and we will try to reduce the variance number 3. The proposed height of the ancillary structure is reduced from 8.19 meters to 6 meters. And I don't have anything to add this time. The variances we are asking are quite minor, since there is no objection from the community planning in the neighborhood. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the change, the change is variance number 3 from 8.19 to 6 meters. And let's see what the other, what the neighbors are saying. David Bronskill, are you there?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address, Flores, please?
Yes, thank you, sir. I'm here as agent. My name is David Bronskill from Goodman's LLP. Sir, my mailing address is 333 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario. But I'm here on behalf of Flora Wu, which is W-U, and she's the owner, sir, of the property to the north at 93, the Bridle Path.
Yes, okay. Yeah, we have it registered. So what's your concern?
Thank you, sir. I'm going to speak, sir, to variances 2, 3, and I think I just heard 3 was modified to 6 meters, although I don't have plans to reflect that. And I think, sir, variance 4, but I'll explain why my client's concerns with variances 2 and 4 are perhaps, I would say, less significant than the concern with variance 3, even as modified. And I do think we would need to see some plans, sir, in order to be able to support the reduced height of 6 meters. So my clients are directly to the north. The proposed accessory structure, which is labeled on the plans as a landscape cabana, is located 4.4 meters from the common property line between, thank you to staff, yes, you can see it there, between my client's property and this property. Obviously, sir, this is a very large site and it's a very large home, and there are lots of opportunities, I think, on this site to do the type of accessory structure that's proposed right here, rather than putting it 4.4 meters from my client's property. That accessory structure contains 2 sitting rooms, significantly sized sitting rooms, and a dining area. It's also then got covered walkways over to what I guess I would call 2 other sitting areas or pergolas, but they're structures that are also above the maximum height for an accessory structure. So there are in fact 3 structures there pushed to the back of the property adjacent to my client's property line. I appreciate the offer to reduce the 8.19 to 6 meters. At 8.19, that was a 2-story house being located there. As you can see, it's large. We don't really know in terms of the size if it could be reduced such that the coverage variance would no longer be required. That's why, sir, I have less of a concern with the coverage, but I do think the overall size of the ancillary structure is related to coverage. And it's a small matter, sir, but you will see that there's a variance there. It's 29.779 meters to the corner of that accessory structure. There's no reason on this property that they need that variance. 30 meters can certainly be provided such that the ancillary structure could be moved further away from my client's property. All in all, sir, putting that extent of accessory structure through those 3 structures and having them exceed the heights of the bylaw is something that does not maintain the intent of the bylaw, which is intended to ensure to have structures that don't impact from a view perspective adjacent clients' properties. So I'd be asking for those variants to be turned down. If there is a proposal to have a modified height, the applicant could do that subsequent to this hearing process and come up with plans and review them with my client. Those are the concerns, sir. I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope I have sufficiently targeted those concerns so the committee can understand what is concerning my client.
Okay, thank you. Any question for the speaker? All right, so we'll go to the next one. Isabella Derskiewicz, are you there? Isabella? Do you know if she's around?
Isabella's not appearing on the call currently, Mr. Chair. Simon's just trying to contact her. She was previously on the call, and then I guess she dropped off. But we're trying to get in contact with her.
Okay, so we'll wait. Okay, she's just listening. Okay, so, sir, we go back to We go back to Christine Dung, yeah? The agent. Would you please address the concerns you heard so far? The other person is just listening. So,
Yes, regarding the items number 2, we just asking for 0.22 meters less than the permitted setback requirements. Item 3, we already revised the building heights per planner's recommendation. And item number 4, we do see there are some approval in the surrounding neighborhood, like 32 Sandfield was approved with 30.58% coverage, and 188 the bridle path was approved with 32.23% coverage. So I think the coverage we are asking is quite minor. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Any question? No questions? Then can I have a motion then? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward the motion to approve the application. I believe that with the modification that they done, modified variance number 3, the height of auxiliary structure, change it to 6 meter. Therefore, this application looks minor. So my motion will be to approve this application subjected to urban forestry memo.
Thank you. Second? Second, Ms. Manning, all in favor? Okay. Unanimous. Okay, so your application is approved, subject to the change you made from 819 to 6 meter, and subject to condition, forestry. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Could we take a short break?
Yes, yes. You couldn't find a better time. Thank you. How about 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I need it too. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in session now. We'd like to proceed with number 25, which is our next item. Okay. 1, 2 to go, 3 to go, 1. If I get only one, we'll have quorum so we can move on. Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, we have a quorum. Item number 25, which is 42 Gresham Road, application number 25. And here we have Alan Diaz. Alan Diaz, are you
Yes.
there? Yeah, hi. Could you please?
I'm here.
Yeah, please state your name and address for us.
My name's Alan Diaz. Address is 2326 Burnt Oak Avenue, Markham.
Thank you. So we have just to enclose a porch, 2 variances, and 7 letters of support. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Sir, we don't need any presentation. Do you want to add something, or we just move to committee?
If I could just mention a discrepancy in the notice. Regarding the front yard setback, we were asking for 3.10 meters for the front yard setback, and the letter shows 3.12. That's very minor. That's just an inch. Yeah, could have been just a typo.
Well, let me just cover. Which variance is that?
That's item number 2.
2.
And the front yard setback of 3.12 meters should be 3.10.
Oh, less than 1.
That is.
Yeah.
It can't get.
Yeah, that's an.
If
It can't get
less,
small.
That's just a typo.
yeah, that's
It
all
can't
right.
get small, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
It can't get smaller.
Front. Just a second. Hold a second. The proposed is less, so he's okay. The proposed front yard is 3.0, 3.10.
10.
Yeah. He's asking for less, not more. So
I'm not asking for less. That is the existing, and that is what is shown on the site plan.
okay.
3.10 is what is shown on the site plan and survey.
The proposed is 3.10 or 1.1, 1.2. That make any?
Just continue. Let him continue.
Okay, how about if we don't touch it, just leave it as is?
That's fine.
Yeah, both of them are minor, so why don't we just move on? And we have here members. We said he doesn't. Okay, so we said we don't need any presentation. Do you have any question for this gentleman? No. Can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, this is a straightforward application. I believe it meets 4 tests. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application with no conditions.
Okay, and second? Second, I have 2 seconds. Miss Manning, seconding, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimous, and there is no conditions. And I note here that small discrepancy, which it doesn't make a big difference. So.
Okay, that's great.
Your application is approved. Okay. Number 26.
Thank you, Committee.
Good night. Number 26, which is 1 Kildare Crescent. And here we have 26. Peter Giordano. Peter Giordano, are you there?
I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, can you please state your name and address?
Yes, Peter Giordano, David Small Designs, 1405 Cornwall Road in Oakville.
Thank you. We have here 1 variance. Relocation of driveway. Transportation has no objection. Members, do we need a presentation? I don't think so. Okay, sir, we don't need any presentation. Do you want to add something, or we just move on to the committee?
Yeah, I was just going to make the brief statement that we're here with exactly the same drawings as were approved on March 24th. It's just that this was, and it was approved for driveway width, but the zoning examiner had missed the location of the driveway. It was pointed out when we were trying to get our zoning certificate. So we're here today. Now, based on the fact that transportation states that we're not on a main street, I even question that this is a variance, but of course it's in front of you today.
Okay, so I said transportation has no objection. So what's your comment here? 1 variance, transportation, no objection. What else do you want to add?
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. I guess what I'm saying is the variance is for a driveway that does not face a main road, and transportation basically says the location of the driveway, the way it is, does not face a main road. And so, you know, that's the premise of our variance.
Thank you. Any question or motion maybe? Can I have a motion then? Mr. Bartolo?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Given that transportation services have no objection to this, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application.
Thank you. Second?
Thank you. Second.
Ms. Manning, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is approved and there is no condition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Members of the committee have.
This was 26. Okay. Application number 27, which is 46 Lynnhaven Road. And here we have Osrin Stambrook. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you please state your name and address for us?
My name is Osrin Stambrook. I'm at 15 Moreland Road.
Thank you. So we have here application for a second and side additions, 5 variances, 1 letter of objection, transportation objection. Could you please make a short presentation of 5 minutes as to the merits of this application and cover the variance number 5 for the driveway width, which seems to be a little bit more. So.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Absolutely. I think the variances most of them are extremely minor and very straightforward for this area. The coverage is just a result of having the existing garage in the backyard. That is the only reason we're showing a coverage variance. And the rest of the variances are a little bit of a technicality. But I will speak to variance number 5, as you asked, because that does require some clarification. So one of the things I submitted, and staff couldn't pull this up, either of the 2 documents I submitted on September 20th, supporting material. Basically, I submitted these to explain what is happening with variance number 5. This is an existing driveway, and this can be seen in the surveys. It can also be seen here at the bottom of this letter right here. If staff can bring it down to the 2nd page, you can see a short explanation. Oh, and here there's the driveway, so we can go down. So right there on the 2nd page, if you go down just a little bit, it says here, it's for item 5. I asked, if you just go up a little bit, I asked, the driveway is also existing. Why does it need to comply? I asked this to the examiner, and they said this is their explanation. And to sum it up in short, basically, they're saying that since we're now proposing and removing the existing garage in the front wall, now the entire driveway is as if we're proposing a new driveway, which is absolutely not the case. And you can switch to the second supporting documentation you just had open, which is a recent Google image of the house. And you can see the garage that we're going to be filling in, actually taking out and building a wider main story. But the driveway is absolutely existing. I think this was a mix-up. I guess there's no other way to word it. But what I would suggest in this situation, or what I would ask for, is for us to be tied to the site plan, which says this is an existing driveway, and it does not show a proposed driveway anywhere. And for this variance to be approved, because what would need to happen here if we were to, let's say, have everything approved except this variance, which we'll also accept if that is the committee's decision, but we would essentially have to install a curb cut in the driveway, which would make it much more difficult for guests to park in the front yard. And then that garage in the back, which is seldom used, would be the only access to parking. So to me, it is a technicality. And I think that this image and that explanation from the examiner shows that this is absolutely not a proposed driveway. We do not have a soft landscape or landscape variance in the front yard. So I would ask for the committee's understanding of this situation and to approve all the variances. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. The transportation had no objections, so let's see what the members are saying. Any question? We don't have any other speaker here, just the agent. If no question, can I have a motion then, please? Oh, Mr. Bartolo, okay, I didn't see your hand was behind. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I understand what the applicant is saying here, and I'm in agreement that this existing condition should be maintained for the purposes of the new development or new construction. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application with no conditions.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Manning, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is unanimously approved with no conditions.
Thank you for your time, and thank you, committee members. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, give me a second. I have my thing here is, okay, so the application number 28, we're going to hold it. The applicant is asking to hold off. They're having some issues and they'll be coming later on. No, we'll hold on until you let me know, okay? Let me know when he comes back. Number 29, we did it. And number 30, application number 30, which is 232 Ellerslie Avenue. And here we have Aida Evangelista. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, I've been advised that Ida's having some connection issues and that she'll be reconnecting.
Okay. Do you want us to hold? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we could go to the next item and then we'll come back to her.
You let me know?
Yes.
Okay, please remind me. Okay. Item number 31, which is 75 TROUTBROOKE, application number 31. And here we have George Natty. Are you there? George Natty.
Brook Drive?
Yeah. Is that George?
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. Could you please state your name and address so it can be recorded on the system?
Giorgio Natti, 75 TROUTBROOKE Drive.
Thank you. This here we have a deck and a spa. We have 4 variances.
Yes.
And the staff report recommends to refuse it. So could you please cover it and tell us what's going on? You have 5 minutes, please, for your presentation.
Hello, sorry?
You have 5 minutes for your presentation. I see you have some delay in your transmission. Could you please make your presentation of 5 minutes for the merit of your application?
Sorry, it's misunderstanding. I can't hear anything that you were saying. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I guess we have some connection problem. How about now? Do you hear me? Do you hear us speaking? Doesn't hear us.
George, if you could please log out and log back and rejoin the call.
Yeah, we have some sort of connection problem here that I can't understand. It's just cutting in and out too much, and it's very hard to understand you.
Okay, that's better. Yeah.
That's better.
Do you hear us? No.
Mr. Chair, Ida has rejoined the call. Perhaps we could go back to her file.
Which one? Ida?
Yes.
Okay, hold a second.
That is item 30.
Yeah, 30, I have it. Miss Evangelista, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we hear you. Could you please, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know who you are, but it's still, for every item, it has to be recorded on the system. So just please state your name and address.
No worries. Sorry about that. I got bumped. My name is Ida Evangelista, 53 Bentworth Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. This is a modification of a house which is already under construction. And staff report has only a condition to build in accordance with east and west elevation drawings. There are 13 variances. Would you like to make a short presentation, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will explain what's transpired. So if staff can put up my submission, or if yourself and the members have seen my submission, it just gives you a clearer picture of what's transpired. But what's happened is 232 was approved, and while it was under construction, they built the roof, and the roof was built at a 7/12 pitch. So when they were building the house and they built the roof, on the second floor, there was not enough headroom. So what they did was they changed the pitch of the roof, right? So basically it's called now a mansard style roof. So they changed the pitch of the roof where the lower part of the roof is 7/12 and then it goes to a 3/12 pitch. Now, although you see all those variances in front of you, those variances are exactly the same variances that was approved in 2018. And the reason why they come up again is because technically it has not been closed, right? So it's still considered as a new house. So all the variances have to come up. However, even though they changed the pitch of the roof, and the reason, again, why we're here today is because because the windows go into the gable of the roof on the side, the side elevations were tied to the decision. So when they went to build, and unfortunately, it didn't specify in the minutes that the reason why the side elevations were tied, and it was, if it had stipulated that it was tied strictly relating to the windows, that the main wall height was relating to the windows, then I wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
But because it didn't exactly specify why, and we changed the pitch, and because it was to be built substantially in accordance to, and we've changed the pitch on the roof, and that's what brings us here today. But absolutely nothing has changed from the decision of 2018. We only changed, again, the pitch to give us more headroom in that second floor, because there was too much of a slope on the roof.
Okay. All right. So how about the staff condition? It says elevation drawings. Are the current drawings are compatible with the with what is there today? It says
yes, Mr. Chair.
It says
yes, Mr. Chair. What you? Sorry. Go ahead.
Is there conditions to build in accordance to east and west elevation drawings? Are these drawings compatible with what we're proposing, or we have to come back again?
No, I do not want to come back again. I believe the drawings that you do have are now the drawings that reflect what will transpire at the site.
That's the question.
So we are,
okay,
if that is what staff would like, then we are okay with that.
That's my question. Okay, let's see what we don't have anybody else here. So just you. So let's see if the members have any question. Any question? If there is no question, I need a motion, please.
I just have a question, if it's fine. I just want to confirm to you, Mr. Chair, that all the variance is exactly the same as what we approved on 2018?
Yes.
Everything, okay.
Yes. Through you, Mr. Chair, if I may answer, yes, absolutely nothing has changed.
Okay, if I'm ready.
Okay, please go ahead.
If nothing have been changed and staff has no concern, therefore I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application, and I would like to this time tie to east and west elevation. The proposal be built substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawing submitted to committee as per staff recommendation. And I think there is no other condition.
No, thank you.
I'm so sorry, my audio completely cut out, so I didn't hear the proposed motion.
Yeah, she goes.
The motion.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
The motion was to approve the application and also consider the staff recommendation or condition that the proposal be built substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawing, and no other condition. That's the motion.
You're okay with that? You heard it, yeah? You heard it?
Yeah.
Okay, seconds. You're seconding it. Ms. Manning is seconding. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, Ms. Evangelista, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the condition of building in accordance to east and west elevation drawings.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now we go back to, can we try 20, what is it, 25?
Mr. Chair, for item 31, George Nati has rejoined the call.
31, huh? Okay. Mr. George Nati, are you there?
Yes, Giorgio Nati here speaking.
Okay, can you please state your name and address? We need the address attached to the name, please.
Giorgio Nati, 75 TROUTBROOKE Drive.
Thank you. So we have here a deck and a spa, 4 variances.
Yes.
Right, 4 variances. TRC has no objection, but staff report recommends to refuse it. Could you please give us your take on this application and what's the merit of it?
Well, the merit of just adding a proposed deck here that I have no choice to build at a certain height and distance from the property, working within the top of slope and all the soil tests that we've had done here and approved by TRCA. Plus, there's a walkout basement, so I have no choice to be above the 1.2 meter above grade. So I'm expanded because I'm trying to make everything symmetrical with the spa and the 2-tier deck. So I'm going to take advantage as much as possible as I can of the land that I was allowed to build as per TRCA requirements. This is where I see all the setbacks and the variances. So I'm hoping that you can approve it of this drawing and see what we can come up with. What are the different options we have?
Okay, we don't have any other person registered here.
No, the 2 neighbors have no objections when I spoke to them about this.
Did you discuss it with the staff who recommend refusal of this application?
No, I have not.
You have not. Okay, members, any questions?
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, can you please remove that? Okay. Any question? I don't see any hands.
Mr. Chair, can we get a little bit more explanation, like a presentation or so? Because I just wonder how come there is like this? Is the applicant haven't had a chance to talk with the city staff, or this is what, as he explained, this is how they should build that?
Yes, that's the only way we had designed, because we had no choice to force everything towards closer to the home, because I was not allowed to build any further away from TRCA requirements because of the ravine. So I had to push everything towards the property, and they were allowing to give me a 6-meter setback from top of slope. And on your last variant, it's at 7.7 meters. So I've done all necessary requirements what TRC required me to do. I did a soil test for them to show that the ground is solid and strong for me to build this 2-tier deck with a swim spa. So if I was allowed to use the whole rear yard, the design wouldn't look like this. But because I'm restricted to a certain dimension that is what is required from TRCA, I had no choice to build it this way. So I have a walkout, for my kitchen upstairs on the 2nd floor. I've got a patio door that has to walk out to a deck that never was here before. So this is all new existing project and decking that we're doing right now. So I followed the proper requirements and proper procedures, and I went to the TRCA first before going to the building inspector, because TRCA made the recommendations and I followed everything that they required. Yeah. And you have documentation proving that TRC has approved all of this work with no concerns.
Yeah. TRCA...
And no objections from any of my neighbors.
No. TRCA, they say they have no objection except the permits still required. So to obtain the permits, what you're submitting will be compatible with the permit requirements, huh?
That is correct. That's why they will not submit it. Building permit has to be submitted first, then TRCA will submit their permit as well.
Okay.
And that's why we are going through this variance committee adjustment process.
Okay.
And
you did discuss with the staff why they think they should be refused?
No one, I did not know there was a staff or any staff has had an issue with this. No, it was never brought to my attention.
Okay, all right. So let's move. Yeah, Miss Tarodi.
Yes.
Did I answer her questions?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you answered the question. And can I speak, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
You answered my question, and it's appreciative that you talk with the TRC and you're trying to modify your design to save some of the ravine restriction. So, but I think as I've heard, I think that you were not aware of staff report, and you haven't even had a chance to talk with them to explain why you modify your design. I think it's fair that I just put forward a motion to defer the application so that applicants have more to explain to staff that what was the reason why you just designed or put the building where he put it. So therefore, my motion will be to defer the application sine die so that the applicant have time to talk with city staff.
Can I ask which city staff is making these kind of recommendations? Do they have an idea of what they're talking about regarding this project? Why are they trying to recommend?
Excuse me, we have a motion on the floor here, so let's see how it goes before we can talk about it. Once we're in committee and we're discussing the motion, we can't reopen the case. So your motion.
My apologies.
That's okay. Your motion is to defer it, sine die, for the agent to discuss with the staff as far as their comments why they have to be refused it. And do I have a second for that?
Mr. Chair, I don't know if it's just me, but my system has been freezing. I have not been able to follow any of the questions.
Okay, so you're abstaining? Or you couldn't hear it? What's happening? Miss Manning, could you please repeat what you said?
I'm freezing, so I'm not able to follow. I'm going to abstain from.
You're abstaining.
We've been experiencing some audio issues, and IT has been.
Okay, no, she's abstaining. Okay, how about Miss Tarodi has a motion to defer, and I'm asking for a second. Miss Manning is abstaining, and now I'm waiting for Mr. Bartolo. Yes or no? You're not for that motion. Okay, so very good. Okay, so so the motion failed. There is no seconding, so I need another motion. Mr. Bartolo, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I've heard what the applicant has said. I've reviewed the drawings. I don't see how this is going to really adversely affect the neighborhood, as the planner's comments, nor does the GRC or TRCA have any issues with it. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application.
Thank you. And there is no condition.
Thank you.
And there is no condition. Okay.
No conditions.
Okay. Thank you. Second. You have a second? No second.
Again, Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain. I just wasn't able to follow anything with the audio issues.
Okay, so you're not able to, you're out, so he's for a motion to approve. And Ms. Tarodi, for or against? There is a motion, all in favor?
I'm against, so now you can vote,
Against, you're
Mr. Chair.
against. Okay, so 1 for, 1 against. I'll have to make the decision. I'll go with the motion. I think I have to agree with Mr. Bartolo because the TRCA has no problem with this. The variances, I looked at them, 4 variances, and I think the application is viable. And I'll go with the motion with Mr. Bartolo, and we approve the application, and there is no conditions. So your application is approved with no conditions, okay?
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. So are we going back to number 28? Is it 28? Was
Mr.
it 28?
Chair, please hold 28 for a bit
What was
longer.
it, 28, huh? Yeah, 28, we're holding it. Should we keep holding it, or we go back? Now?
Mr. Chair, please hold it towards.
We still hold it. Okay, just let me know. Okay, so this is 31 is gone, now we're in 32. Right? Okay, application number 32, which is 37 Rochester Avenue, application number 32. And here we have here David Bronscale. Are you there?
I am, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon again. Just for the record, David Bronskill here is agent for the applicant, and the mailing address, sir, is 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400 in Toronto.
Okay. Excuse me, I didn't get that. Your name is not David Bronskill. What's your name?
No, sir, it is. It is David Bronskill.
Oh,
I hope
you
it's
are.
coming okay. Am I coming through for you? Yes.
Okay, okay. So please go ahead. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more speakers here on this application. So we need you to make a presentation and then we'll go. We have here, this is a new dwelling, 10 variances, staff report asking to refuse variance number 5 and 6 and modify number 8. We have letters, 8 letters of objections, 2 letters of support, and we have forestry. So please make your presentation. We'll give you 5 minutes starting now, and then as to the merit of your application, we'll go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And the presentation that's coming up will be helpful. I'm going to focus, sir, briefly on the FSI and on the height as the first 2 matters, and then in a little bit more detail on the length and depth, because that is part of the planning staff report, and I think some of the concerns of the adjacent neighbors. Page 2 does have the site plan. Sir, I was going to come back to that for you. In terms of height, I was just going to quickly note at page 3, the permitted roof height is shown in light blue. You can see that it's a very small portion of roof that is actually exceeding through the design. It's 10.46 meters, whereas 10 is permitted under the new bylaw. And it's a small portion of the roof and a small exceedance. And I respectfully submit it doesn't have any impacts on anyone. The FSI, we also included, as we often do at page 4, the numeric FSIs that occur within the neighborhood, because this is sometimes a question in terms of what has been approved. Across the street, there are FSIs of 0.58, 0.58, 0.5995, and in the neighborhood, a range of FSIs that we picked up above 0.55, ranging up to including 0.6279, 0.64, and then some larger FSIs as you head further south of Blythewood. I recognize those are further to the south in terms of the map that we put together for you. In terms of the length and depth, sir, if I quickly go to the site, and again with staff's assistance at page 2, the design here was done.
Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry.
Staff are currently trying to pull up the graphics. We're just experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty.
Yeah, keep going until they pull it out, okay?
Thank you. I'll keep going, and I appreciate staff trying to work it through. You will see on the site plan, if you're able to look at it, that the design here has been done deliberately to ensure that the dwelling avoids a tree that basically sits on the property line between my client's house and the adjacent property at 39. So there's a carve out of the tree to protect the tree protection zone. There's then a portion of the dwelling at the back that's a square that is a 1-story section that is done 1.83 meters from the property line so that the hedge that's on that property line can also be preserved. So there's a design intent behind the length and depth, which is to take some of the GFA that might normally be deployed within the as of right envelope and use it in the back at the 1-story section in order to preserve a tree that's common along the property line. This can be seen in the very simple map that the architects put together that you might be able to find on page 5 of the presentation. The 2-story section of the property, actually of the building, only has a building length of 18.43 meters. We recognize there's a 23.16 meter variance being sought, but that is to the back of the 1-story section. That one-story section is then 1.83 meters from the property line, and we would submit doesn't have significant impact on the neighbors, but keeping the hedge and the trees would be a more important outcome here. That's what leads to the length and depth, and we would ask if the committee did see fit to authorize the variances to ensure a condition that any construction occurs substantially in accordance with the plans, so that square at the back would remain only a one-story portion. And that one-story portion is used to walk out to an at-grade patio area at the back. That's the presentation, Mr. Chair. That's some of the justification for what is occurring. I'm happy to answer any questions and obviously respond to the speakers that are to follow.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we'll go, we'll start with lots full graph. Are you there?
Lutz, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you please?
Hello?
Please state your name and address. We hear you.
Happy to do so. I'm speaking for the Lawrence Park Ratepayers Association. The address is 3219 Yonge Street, Toronto, Ontario, M4N3S1.
Thank you. Tell us what's the concern, please.
Yeah, let me tell you first that LPRA usually welcomes construction in the neighborhood as long as it does not negatively affect enjoyment or value for the neighboring properties. The lot does not present any particular challenges. It's 15.18 times 45.72 meters. 15 meters by 45 meters is the standard lot in the neighborhood for which the bylaws are written. And the grading also does not provide any particular challenges. So there's no real need to build that significantly outside of the bylaws as the plans provide. We are concerned about the variances regarding the width of the new building because the office of the architect's office of the applicant seems to sort of routinely always exceed or decrease the side yards by a foot or two. I have 3 recent application listed in my letter of objection. That's 135 St. Leonard, 15 Blanchard Road, and 3 Garland Avenue, where every time we got too close to the bylaw, and unfortunately, previous decisions of the Committee of Adjustment seem to create the expectation at the architect's office that this will always be granted if asked for. But it's not really necessary in this case, certainly not on both sides. And therefore, we would like to ask the Committee of Adjustment to refuse these variances. The other variances, and the applicant has already referred to it, even though he said he thinks those are the concerns that the neighborhood has, which seems to indicate to me that no real dialogue has taken place. It concerns the length of the building and the depth of the building. The planned depth is 23.45 meters. The planned length 23.16 meters, where 17 and 19 meters are allowed by the bylaws. There's nothing in the bylaws that says that the length. It doesn't really matter if you stay within the bylaw length if you only exceed it for a one-story addition. The length is the length, and also it shouldn't be forgotten that under the family room there is excavation in the ground, so it really is 23.16 meters long or 23.45 meters deep, as it's stated in the plan, and that is just way beyond the bylaw limit, and that is not necessary. It deprives some of the neighbors of, or creates concerns for privacy. It takes away light, even though it's only a one-story extension. It is just longer than any other house that is there in the neighborhood. And if we then go to the FSI variance number 8, the applicants asked for 0.6257. And even though I heard in the previous presentation that there are similar FSIs have been granted in the neighborhood, I am not aware of any that at least don't have any specific challenges as far as the lot goes in terms of a pie-shaped lot or some specific grading or something like that, that would get into this range. Sorry, Mr. Chairman? Oh, okay. Then I just keep going. The FSI of 0.6257 is way beyond the limit, and I would appreciate if the Committee of Adjustment would see it fit that this is too large and follow the staff report in this return.
Okay.
Another concern. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm wrapping up.
I think your time is out. So could you please summarize?
Okay. The last thing I wanted to mention is the height of the sidewalls, which is 8 meters instead of 7.5 meters. And because they're so close to the side lot lines, they will create a lot of shading. So I would like to ask the committee to please deny these plans and these variances.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? Next speaker is Chris Foucault. Are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Your name and your address, please.
Sure, my name is Chris Fuoco, and I live at 52 Rochester Avenue.
Thank you. And tell us what's your concern, and if it's something different or you want to add something.
No, I'll just add to some of what Lutz had spoken to earlier. As I said earlier, my name is Chris Fuoco. My wife and I are the homeowners at 52 Rochester. We live across the street and 3 doors east of the subject property. We're not opposed to new construction in this neighborhood so long as it's consistent with other homes found in the immediate vicinity within Lawrence Park. As the Ratepayers Association pointed out, this is a standard 50 by 150 lot, very normal shaped on Rochester. And I would submit that a very nice large home can be built on a property of that size and one that would be both in keeping with the character of other builds on the street and the bylaws. I would say that the 4 criteria that are in the public notice are not being met here. First, the 10 variances individually and in aggregate are not minor. As presented, this home would be of a size, scale, and height that would dwarf the immediate neighbors and be larger than anything on the street. Second, I don't feel that this is appropriate development for a lot of this size. I think that a home that has been, the planned home is more suited for a property that's at least 60 feet wide and more than 150 feet deep. The intent of the bylaws are not being maintained. The 10 variances that are being sought go far beyond the permitted maximums. For example, in the case of the FSI, we're talking about something that's almost 80% larger than what the bylaw calls for. The length and depth would take up approximately 50% of the entire property. And then finally, the purpose and intent of the official plan I don't feel is being respected in the sense that we need to look at the immediate context. This art block and no home on this immediate section of Rochester would have this length, depth, height, sidewall heights, etc. The other piece that I want to bring to your attention is I feel that the absolute bare minimum of effort was made to discuss with the neighbors the proposed plans and what was being contemplated with this build. To our knowledge, the only notice and information provided to the immediate neighbors was a generic letter authored by the architect's office delivered 1 day prior to receiving notice from the city. And yet we know from the submitted plans and other materials that this applicant has been working on this project for the better part of a year. And so this hurry up and hope no one notices approach illustrates complete disregard for the interests and quality of life of the other neighbors on the street. And finally, I would also point out that in May of this year, the Committee of Adjustment rejected plans for another new build on Rochester, number 48 to be specific, and the requested variances in that project were less than what is being proposed in number 37. So by that standard, if the committee has already rejected something that was asking for less on the same size lot directly across the street, then there is no way in my mind that the project at 37 should be even contemplated. So therefore, I object to the submitted plans for number 37, all 10 of the requested variances contained, and ask that the committee reject the plans in totality. Thank you for allowing me to bring forward my comments.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Okay. Okay, the next one is Brian or Nicole Swales. Are you there? Brian Swales? Or
Brian, you're unmuted.
Mr. Chairman, I'm here, Brian Swales.
Okay, please state your name and address for the records here.
Yes, it's Brian Swales. My address is 40 Rochester Avenue.
Thank you.
Directly across the street.
Yeah, so thank you. So you heard all the objections. Anything different?
So I'd support both the comments of objection offered by the Lawrence Park Ratepayers Association, as well as the prior objection from a neighbor.
Okay.
I think I'll just add two comments for color. They're featured in the appendix of my letter of objection. And so this FSI creep over the years, for those of us living in the neighborhood, having done renovations within the context of renovations in prior years, in variances closer to 0.75, 0.475, 0.48, 0.5, essentially.
I think we lost you. We lost him, yeah? Sir, can you hear us?
Brian, you're still unmuted. Maybe we'll move on to the next speaker and see if he comes back after.
Yeah, we have two more. Okay, Christine Montgomery, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address so you can be recorded on the system?
Sure. My name is Christine Montgomery, and I am the property owner of 39 Rochester.
Thank you.
I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my husband, and we're the immediate neighbor to the east of the subject property.
Right. So you heard all the objections here. Do you have anything different? We try to move things along. So please tell us what's your concern.
Sure. I support and agree with all of the objections made by everyone speaking to date, or so far, actually. I just have a few points to add. Mostly as they pertain to my property specifically, because I am directly adjacent. So I would like to just bring up the fact that the proposed building, because it's so oversized, it will dominate not only the landscape, existing homes, it'll fill the entire backyard with structure, it'll eviscerate green space, it will injure 4 trees, 2 of which are on my property. It will detrimentally impact my privacy, my natural light, my enjoyment of my backyard, the enjoyment of my house, just given the size and massing of the property. It's not in accordance with the bylaws. In fact, it's well beyond the bylaws. It's certainly not minor in the variances that are requested. I mean, the fact that there are 10 and that they're going to create a building that's bigger, taller, wider, deeper in all respects, even if we look at each variance in and of itself, when we take them all together, it will permit a grossly disproportionate building, and it means that each of the variances is really not minor in that respect.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, you're... yeah.
No, can I just add a couple of more things, just in terms of the privacy as well, or the side yard setbacks. The side yard setbacks, as Mr. Lutz said, they are becoming just sort of granted as of right. But when we combine a reduced side yard setback and increased height, increased building height, as well as wall height, what it means is it compromises the privacy of my home, it compromises our natural light, it compromises my structural and basement foundations with the digging below. It also compromises our trees. So it's not, I just think that all of the variances have to be looked at in this respect, and accordingly, I would request that the entire project be not allowed in this regard, and we can't look at each of these variances in isolation.
Okay, well, thank you for your presentation. You're number 39, so you're next door, you're the mostly affected by this, right?
And I did include drawings with, or photos rather, with my presentation, or with my submission. I hope that the committee members have had a chance to look at those, just to see the impact that it will have on my property.
Okay, thank you. And any question for the speaker? No. Okay, the next one is...
Mr. Chair, Brian has rejoined the call.
He came back, okay. Brian Swales, are you there?
Brian, you're now unmuted.
Yeah, what happened? We lost you.
No, I was calling in through my cell phone. I'm now on the WebEx link, so
good move.
It tends to get disconnected, but I'm here.
Okay, yes.
So I think my two primary comments are captured out of respect for time and the committee members. I think you get a sense of the neighbors, the neighborhood, and what our expectations are for construction and neighborly discourse in advance of such plans. And so on a number of the variances, I would request that they be denied and sent back to the drawing board.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, we heard that, and also Miss Montgomery, she's affected there. So let's see the end of it. We have Mike Kalmar. Are you there?
Mike, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Michael Kalmar, and I'm at 44 Rochester Avenue, more or less directly opposite from the subject property.
Okay, so you heard all the objections. Do you have anything different?
No, I would just like to say I support all the objections made. I think I just say, you know, in my prioritization, the property side setbacks, like asking for property side setbacks on both sides, is unnecessary and undesirable for the streetscape. The building height is going to dwarf the neighboring properties. It's going to block light. It's going to impact everyone. And the FSI variance is of a scale that's beyond anything that's being approved on the street. So I would say individually and collectively, this goes beyond the scope of allowable variances from the bylaws. So I would respectfully ask the committee to deny this and ask the neighbors at number 37 to go back to the drawing board, come up with a slightly more modest proposal that's in keeping with the neighborhood, and perhaps actually reach out to the neighbors and do some basic consultation about this, and then return to the Committee of Adjustment with revised drawings. I'm sure that we get support then.
Okay, thank you.
So I would do it.
Yeah.
I would just say, yeah. So in summary, I respectfully ask that this proposal in its current form be refused.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? All right, so, Mr. Agent, could you come back, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I hope I'm
Yeah.
coming through okay.
Yeah, you please address those concerns. You heard all the neighbors. You also had the staff report that I didn't see any comment on it, like to modify the FSI, plus to refuse variance number 5 and 6. Could you please cover all that stuff before we make our decision?
I will do my best, Mr. Chair. On consultation, sir, I know that isn't one of the 4 tests, but just for the record, it was about a month ago that the architect sent a full package out to the neighbors. It wasn't just a letter, but it was a full set of plans. No one reached out to the architect to express any concerns. We did see the letters that were posted in accordance with the committee's process, and I've tried to address those in my comments to you. In terms of the side yard setbacks, sir, I would just note if staff, if I could beg their indulgence maybe to put up page 2 of that presentation. The existing house is actually closer to both lot lines than this proposal. So yes, there are variances for the side yard setbacks, but the new structure will actually be further away. You can see that existing home in green there in outline. So there's actually going to be more space between the houses. And as noted by the speakers, reduced side yard setbacks are in fact approved in this neighborhood. There will still be, in my respectful submission, a healthy setback to the side property lines. Secondly, the FSI is marginally over the 0.58 and the 0.599s that have been approved across the street. A notional reduction from what's being proposed down to 0.58 or 0.59, other than a mathematical exercise, sir, I'm not sure actually accomplishes very much. And then, sir, I have to come back to the tree privacy, length, and depth. As you noted, that is a concern expressed by staff. I'm going to try and do it without repeating myself, sir, but again, you can see in red on that site plan, that's the quote-unquote as of right outline for a house, for a 2-story house. You can see that on the east side, adjacent to 39, that as of right outline would cut through the tree protection zone for that tree adjacent to number 39. What the architects have done, in fact, is taken GFA that would be deployed in that area so that tree can be protected, redeployed it at the back. And so it is slightly longer in the 2 stories. As I noted to you earlier in this presentation, we included a very simple diagram at page 5, and the 2-story portion is 18.43 meters. There's then a small 1-story addition at the back to make up the GFA, that cube. That takes it to the 23.16 meters. So this is not a standard 2-story house coming in for the type of length and depth that might jump off the page of the variances, but I am gonna submit to you has been designed respectfully to try and mitigate the impacts so that there is breathing room, that tree is preserved. As I noted to you, there's a hedge running on the property line between 37 and 39 that would also be kept because that 1-story cube is 1.83 meters from the property line. The tree and the hedge would also then help with privacy impacts and mitigating them. There are only 3 upper story side windows on that elevation to 39. So I would just respectfully submit to the committee there aren't any privacy impacts. The houses will remain well spaced. The height is 0.4 over what is permitted. This is not an overwhelming house, but in fact has been, or at least has been an effort, I would just say to the committee, to design it sensitively, to pick up some of those landscaping features that are integral in communities like this to ensure that they can be preserved. And then they have the added benefit of helping mitigate privacy between homes. I think this is a good design that if it was approved with a condition that tied it substantially in accordance with plans, that any impacts would be mitigated and overall the proposal would meet the 4 tests. I hope, sir, I've addressed the points you wanted me to, but obviously I'm happy to answer questions as well.
Okay, so if I understand, you're not making any changes, right?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. So we have only staff report asking for certain conditions and certain changes. Let's see what members are saying. Questions? Could you please remove that thing from there? Okay, could you please, any question to this speaker after we heard all the neighbors?
So just a question from you. So there is no modification to application. Variance number 5, 6, and 8 will stay the same, correct?
Through Mr. Chair, that is correct. Because there are no mods and staff are making the recommendation that they either be modified or otherwise refused, there isn't the normal request for the condition. So we would, if the committee would agree with the submissions that this is something that would merit approval, we would recommend a condition that ties it substantially in accordance with the plan. So that one-story cube would remain as one story so that there could be no FSI deployed in that area to create a second story.
Any other question? Okay, if there's no more questions, then maybe I need a motion. Could somebody come up with a motion? Mr. Tarodi, you're looking at me. Are you? Can you come up with the motion, please? Ms. Manning? Well, they heard, yeah, we're waiting for them. Members, are you, do you hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm asking for a motion. Please come up with a motion. Okay, Mr. Bartolo.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, while listening to everybody, I understand that some of the values being proposed are perhaps a little numerically large or outside the norm.
Yes.
However, I'm inclined to accept the applicant's explanation here with respect to what he's trying to do to curb the destruction of some of the trees and maintain privacy with that one-story bump out at the back there. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the conditions of the urban forestry memo attached.
Okay. Do I have a second? There's no second. Okay. Can I have another motion then? So, motion please. Dinner time soon. Yes, Mr. Bartolo.
Mr. Chair, since we seem to be at a bit of a stalemate here, and I understand my colleagues' trepidation around some of this, and like I said, some of the numerical values involved. I do see a lot of merits in the proposal still, and while I don't normally do this, it may be best to defer this application to allow the applicant to make some revisions and consult with the neighbors to find a more middle ground, which is more agreeable to all parties. So I'll put forward a motion to defer this application sine die.
Yeah. Generally, we don't. After we hear the whole application, we discourage deferrals. But let's see. Do we have a second for deferral? And yeah, Miss Manning, deferring sine die. All in favor? What? for the applicant to, that's what it is, for the applicant to go and change the, discuss with the staff and change the application. That's what some of the residents asked for too. So as I mentioned, I hate to after with the deferrals done in the beginning, after we discussed it, but in this case, that's what you have. Here, Mr. Bartolo is for deferral sine die. Miss Manning seconding it. All in favor? I'm waiting. No. Opposed? Miss Tarodi opposing. Okay. So, sir, the members decided that that the application will be deferred sine die. So go back and work with the staff and the neighbors and come up with something that can be acceptable. Is number thing back?
Mr. Chair, the applicant for item 28 is now on the call.
Was it 28, right?
Yes, item 28, 140 div.
Is it back, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, item number 28, which is 140 Divadale, and here the applicant is 28 Martin Mazierski. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we accommodated you. You couldn't come at your own slot time. So please tell us what your just state your name and address for the records here.
Martin Mazierski. My address, I'm the legal representative for the applicant. My address is 88 Scott Street, Unit 3507, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you. We have new dwelling, one variance minor. There is nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay, no. Sir, we don't need any presentation. Do you want to add something before we make a decision?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because it's kind of a strange application that has a history, and I know everybody didn't want any evidence, but I still just would feel better if I provided a quick history. The proposal was approved in 2021 with an FSI variance. The proposal was appealed by the ratepayers and some neighbors at the time to go to TLAB. There were changes made at TLAB to appease the neighbors, and we came to a settlement. But during the settlement process, it was just minor revisions. And one of the requirements of that settlement was that the elevation drawings and site plan be attached to the approval. It was important to the neighbors at that time, as part of that TLAB settlement, that we attached elevation drawings, which specify a brick interior at the front, that be attached to approval. The one weird thing that happened at TLAB is the examiner changed his mind while we were updating a zoning notice and eliminated an FSI that was already approved at the prior committee of adjustment hearing. So this FSI that popped up is basically when we went back for building permits, a new examiner flagged the same variance that was originally identified. The plans, the footprint has not changed what was approved by this panel in 2021, but the only things that really change is the elevation drawings and some details on those. And again, as part of the TLAB settlement, it was important to everybody that the elevation drawings be attached to the approval. So I just wanted to specify that to satisfy that old settlement, I'd appreciate it on behalf of the applicant if the approval stay made sure to attach the elevation drawings to this approval. Because again, that was important to the ratepayer association at that time, including the fact that the front facade was turned to brick.
Okay, sir, we have one variance here, minor variance. With all this presentation, can you tell us what you're changing here?
Nothing has changed in terms of footprint since the original committee of adjustment approval.
You have one variance. Okay. So, staff members, any question? Miss
Yes, just a quick question. Yes, does the applicant suggesting that we attach to all elevation or one?
The key one is the front elevation drawing.
Front elevation. But you mentioned that the material have been changed. You said although it changed to brick. Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes. It was the front facade, and the front elevation actually specifies brick. So if the approval even specifies brick, I'd be fine with that. That was the purpose of attaching that front elevation drawing for the benefit of all the parties. That ties back to the TLAB approval and should be really reattached regardless, but just to satisfy everybody, to make sure, I'm happy to have it reattached again, just to avoid ambiguity.
Okay. So I'm ready to
You're
put forward
okay?
a motion.
You're
If
okay
there's
for a motion?
a
Okay.
question,
Okay, please go ahead.
the motion will be, it's a very straightforward application. Motion will be to approve this application with only one condition, that the construction be developed substantially to the front elevation drawing submitted and also subjected to urban forestry.
Second. Mr. Bartolo, seconding, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Your application is approved, subject to those two conditions.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, panel.
So,
Can we get another break before we start
sorry?
the next one? Would it be possible we get a break?
Yeah.
A short break?
Okay. Yes. Okay. How about 10 minutes? 10-minute break.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the One more. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the session here, and we're in number 34, application number 34, which is 23 York Ridge Road. And here we have Matthew Helfand.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, could you please state your name and address for us?
Wonderful. Yes, my name is Matthew Helfand. I'm lawyer for the applicant, and my address you can put down is 181 Bay Street.
Thank you. So please tell us, we have here the new dwelling, 6 variances. TRCA has no objection, just permit required. We have 17 letters of objection. The councillor is asking for deferral, and staff report has a number of conditions and variances and so on. So could you please make your presentation as to the limit of this, the merit of this application? Then we hear the neighbors and we'll make our decision. So we'll start your 5 minutes right now.
Sure. Thank you very much. And from the outset, what I'd like to make clear is we are now actually down to 4 variances, and I'm going to go through them. So what I'd like to do in my presentation is start with the description of the site, which is, I think, very important, followed by the proposal and the variances. And are staff putting things up on screen? Okay, great. So this is what you see here is what we are applying for, but I'm going to get to that. If we can first please go to the survey. The survey, I think, is important to look at because, as you can see, this site is irregularly shaped. It's a 3-sided lot that was created in approximately 1990 when it was severed from the property that was located immediately to the north. Prior to severance, it was actually the rear yard of that property, which is 19 York Ridge. You'll see from the survey, and again, hopefully staff can bring this up, there's a curved frontage. Great. Okay, sorry, I'll stop reminding. I don't mean to pester. So there's a curved frontage along York Ridge Road, and you'll also note the elevation markers. This is not a flat site. There is pretty significant grade changes on the site. The northwest portion is flat, but there is a fairly steep slope that goes downwards towards the south, towards the road, and to the east. And so this proposal for a single detached dwelling, which was designed to be specifically responsive to the topography of this site, which is very unique. The proposal was designed by Mr. Lorne Rose, who is an experienced architect in Toronto, who's very well known to the committee. And the proposal will be an L-shaped building that's oriented towards the northeast corner of the lot. The lowest point of the dwelling is going to be where the garage is located, and the building will rise in response to the topography of this site. And so let's just hold there for 1 minute on the survey, because you'll see we have a pie-shaped site with very significant grade changes along the curvilinear street of York Ridge Road. So in terms of the variances for this proposal, my client originally applied for 6 variances, but after significant consultation with city staff and our close review of the public comments, 2 variances have been removed and 2 have been significantly reduced. So as a result of these changes, community planning is now in support of this variance application, as shown in their report, and TRCA is also in support of this application in their report. So the first variance that's sought is for lot coverage. So the proposed lot coverage is 31.29% of the lot area, whereas 25% is permitted. And of this 31.2%, approximately 5% is the pool that's being proposed.
Okay,
and so that means
could you help us here, please?
Sure.
Without explanation, just tell us what you're changing to which. Variance number 1, you're changing it to what?
So variance number 1 is removed.
Removed, okay?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Variance number 2 for lot coverage is being reduced to the number you see here on the screen. So from 47 to 31.29.
0.29, thank you. Then?
Variance number 3 is gone.
Removed, okay.
Yes. Variance number 4 has been reduced or increased, so we have now a front yard setback that's being proposed of 4.66. And as I'll explain, this is actually just to the corner of a pool, and the dwelling itself is set back an increased amount, but that you'll see there, 12.69.
Okay.
But the variance there,
So
front yard
change-
setback
So
4.66.
change that to 4.66. What other change? Number 5?
Number 5 is going to be increased from 1.20 to 3.0 meters.
3.0 meters. Okay, now I have all the changes. Please go ahead.
Wonderful, thank you. So where I was talking about the lot coverage variance. So 31.29 is being sought, but 5% of that is actually just the pool. And so the house itself, the building bulk, is only about 1% more than what's permitted of the bylaw. And so because we've now removed the landscaping variance, we have adequate open space for planting and to ensure that the building itself does not dominate the lot. And so we think this is an appropriate variance that meets the 4 tests. Next is the proposed front yard setback variance. So 4.66 is proposed, whereas 7.5 is the minimum. And as I mentioned, the 4.66 is the setback to just a corner of the pool. The dwelling is set back actually significantly more than that, and it will be invisible from the street. Next is the rear yard setback. And I know I'm running out of time, but I need to explain this. Because the site is a 3-sided lot, what that means is the rear yard setback is actually the corner where the 2 lot lines meet, the 2 side lot lines. And so what that means is the building itself is adjacent to the corners of each of the adjacent properties and is in a position where it is not, you can pull up the site plan perhaps to take a look. And it's located in a position that is really the only opportunity to build on this lot without a rear yard variance of some sort, because it's in the corner that you'll see here. And this is slightly out of date because we've reduced the variances. This is actually very similar to the side yard that we're seeing, which is 1.2 meters, which is permitted and is adjacent to just the rear corners. And there's no negative impact from that. And by complying with the rear yard setback, because of the weird shape of the lot, what you would actually result in is sort of a ziggurat shape or a tetra shaped building that would be completely undesirable and unfeasible for this lot itself. Then finally, in terms of the height variance, 10.38 meters is sought, but it's only under the old zoning bylaw. We do not require a variance from the new bylaw. And the critical difference between these two is that under the old bylaw, height is measured from the center of the road, but the new bylaw, which we comply with, is from the average grade of the property. So I would submit that this is an indication that because we meet the new bylaw, which is a much better indication of the actual height, we're meeting the important regulatory controls here. So just to briefly conclude, this proposal has been designed to meet the topography and unique shape of the lot. And in fact, this dwelling is constructed to fulfill the objectives of this 1990 severance decision from this committee. The committee approved a consent to create a lot out of a backyard, and that had some challenges. And so this proposal is seeking to rise to the occasion to finally develop this lot in a way that we think is sensitive. It meets the OP, it meets the test of minor and desirable, and the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee or anyone else might have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, before we call the other ones, just to make sure with the changes here, you're changing number 5 to 3 meters. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, this one is for the front yard setback, and the staff made a condition to modify front yard setback to be limited to swimming pool. You're okay with that?
Absolutely okay with that condition.
Okay, all right. So let's see what the other neighbors have to say. We have here David Texton. Are you there? Or Lydia Zorn, one of them.
David, you're unmuted.
Hello?
Yeah,
Are
hi.
you there?
Hi, yeah. Could you
Oh,
please?
you can hear us. Good.
Okay, now.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Hold a second.
Go ahead.
Both of you are talking. Who wants to speak?
You. David.
David, please state your name and address so it can be recorded.
David Thexton, 19 York Ridge Road.
Thank you. Tell us what's your concern about this application.
My comments are with the new modifications that have been made to the plan, we are totally in favor of the plan as it stands now.
You're okay with the changes now, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's easy. Okay, so the changes are recorded and you agree with them. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's okay. Thank you. So the next one is Mark Lawrence. Are you there?
Mark,
10
you're
York
unmuted.
Ridge Road.
Yeah, Mark. Okay, could you please tell
Mark
us?
Lawrence, 10 York Ridge Road.
Okay.
I'm kitty corner to the side of the lot. I am also the director of the Young Ridge Homeowners Association with a catchment area of about 130 households, 30 or so which are on York Ridge Road directly.
Okay.
Interesting note.
Did you see the changes the applicant made?
We just saw those about a day and a half ago. And of course, we note that there wasn't a full submission or elevations showing it, nor is there an elevation showing the building height versus the two adjacent lots to David Thexton's or to Tom Fallis on the other side. So they were never shown. And we make note that the height, new height restriction is based on average of the slope. We are adjacent right there on that topography. What our colleague from Mary Bear List did not mention is that is a very steep road there adjacent to it. And I'm going to talk about the safety issue of that afterwards. And the other thing I should note is that our colleague from Mary Bear forgot to mention that Urban Forest is asking for this application to be refused. So we did not have any prior consultation from the applicant before we received the notice in the mail. And we only saw the partial resubmission of a site plan and those numbers you just saw, the committee members, about a day ago. We seldom get involved in these COA applications because we like to talk to the applicants and work things out, which is what we did further down the road for an infill lot a couple years ago. We still believe that the variances are not minor. And they went from 47% down to 31%. And yes, it includes a pool, but that's still a strong variance, about 25% more than allowance. And the setback is 4.6% versus 7.7%, including an integrated pool that the colleague from Baird Earlist mentioned. That is still something that they can control. And the rear yard setback, I think I have to really note this, is right now, in order to come up with a 3-meter setback that he advertised, they are simply taking approximately a 1.5 meter cube corner off the corner of that building to get 3-meter setback, and versus the 9.95. And he mentioned that taking anything closer to the regulation 9.9 meter setback for the rear yard would cause damage to the building form and would not be amenable. But he's making a comment that you're taking spot out of an existing building. You're not. It's a greenfields building. He has an opportunity to design it. So you can't say you're taking something out of a building that's not there. He controls that. So, and also the greenfields capability of this is the owner can make the height bylaw of the old and new regulations fit. Because the road is so steep, he's got the advantage that the average elevation of the lot varies considerably from start to finish. And so the relative value elevations to the adjacent properties are quite significant. And I do have to mention, I said, the urban forestry. They've mentioned that there are a number of properties or a number of trees on that property. If you go to the 5th page of my submission, it shows a picture of, I think, a 200 or 300 foot high red oak, which is right on the property line at the start. And the urban forestry has mentioned that they're opposing this because a lot of trees which are in their bylaw control will be damaged. And I don't think this is appropriate. Secondly, the applicant hired a company called Natural Heritage and sent a report in September the 14th, quote, saying, without approval to remove large trees, it will have major implication on the value of the property and anyone's ability to use it to build a house.
The owner bought this property after great consultation with the adjacent property, and they bought it in late spring. I can tell you there have been no large trees sprout out since then. The property is an extremely difficult property to build on. All of the zoning has stayed the same since late spring. And on top of that, they were not forced to buy this property. So to plead that their value is going to be diminished because they can't take down more trees than what urban forestry is suggesting is a funny argument. So the other thing I want to talk about is safety. I know you don't talk about drainage, but I just want to say the steep road there, and your colleague said
sir,
before.
Sir,
I'll be 30 seconds.
Yeah,
30
ask
seconds.
you to summarize, please, okay?
Okay, 30 seconds. York Mills Road going up eastbound clogs up many times in the wintertime. York Ridge Road is used as a bypass, and cars stop there. If you have construction not mitigated on this road, you're going to have people backing up. This road was built to sub-width standard by the city on the condition you can't have parking on either side between 8 and 4. This application doesn't mention anyhow they're going to, and there's no sidewalk.
Okay, thank
so
you.
So how you can have a snarl up. Thank you. I respectfully ask that this
Thank you, okay.
project be turned down. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so you talk a lot about trees. They cannot touch a tree without the forestry, and we can't have any control on what tree they take, what tree they damage, and so on. Anything they do has to be according to forestry. So that's as far as the trees. The rest, any question for this speaker? No, okay, so I think those are the speakers we have, and we go back to the agent, Mr. Helfand, yeah?
Mr. Helfand, thank you very much. Yes, from Ayrton Burles.
Okay.
So, just to briefly summarize, because we did read the York Ridge Homeowner Association letter that was submitted, and since then the application was significantly amended to respond to many of these concerns here. We responded to staff concerns, and this is a challenging lot. And when the committee did approve this severance many years ago, it had to turn its mind to whether or not this was an appropriate residential developable lot. And it did make that decision, and now we're fulfilling that objective to turn this, largely vacant lot into a developable lot within the built-up neighborhood here. And this isn't about property value and removal of trees. Really, this is about trying to design a home that works within this challenging lot that was created. And one quick point about the 4.66 front yard setback. The reason that this setback is even triggered from the pool and not to the house itself is because the pool is in the front yard. And again, that's a product of the challenge of the lot itself. So this is not the typical application that the committee would see because of the shape of the lot, but it has been designed to be as sensitive to the topography as possible and to reduce the variances as much as possible. And we conclude with the submission that this meets all the tests of the Section 45 of the Planning Act, and we request that this be approved, subject to the one condition requested by planning.
Thank you. Members, any question for this agent, for the speaker? No questions? You got all the changes he made, and the condition of the staff. So can I have, if there's no questions, can I have a motion, please? Ms. Manning?
Through you, Mr. Chair, subject to the changes, which are removal of variance 1, reducing variance 2 to 31.29%, removal of variance 3. Variance 4 is being changed to 4.66 meters. And just noting that the condition that it be
We lost you. She's having some problem with the, yeah, she has some problem with her connection. Here, now she lost it completely. Yeah.
Subject to the condition I already noted from planning.
Okay, Ms. Manning, we lost you for a while. I think you had some problem with the connection. So you stopped at number 4, which changed to 4.66, and from there we lost you. So number 5, you didn't cover it yet.
I did, but you must not have heard me.
We
Okay,
didn't
so
hear
number
you.
5, number 5 changed to 3 meters.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Then we lost you, and then there is a condition that the front yard setback will be limited to swimming pool. Do you agree with that?
I said that as well, but I guess my audio is not
We didn't hear
working.
you. Okay. All right. So I guess that's it. That's her motion. Do I have a second? Second to the motion? No? Okay. Mr. Bartolo, you're seconding it?
No, sorry, Mr. Chair. I hate to do this, but can you repeat the motion one more time? It was in and out. I'm sorry.
Okay. Ms. Manning, could you repeat the motion? I guess they with
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application with the following changes to the variances. The removal of variance number 1. Variance number 2 is changed to 31.29%. Removal of variance number 3. Variance number 4 is being changed to 4.66 meters. Variance number 5 is being changed to 3 meters. And variance 6 has stayed the same. And also, as per the staff report, the condition, the 4.66 meters being tied to just the corner of the pool. And no other conditions.
Okay. Second, do I have second? Mr. Bartolo seconding. All in favor? Opposed? Miss Manning, Miss Tarodi, he came in the middle. Are you for or against? I'm sorry, I don't hear you. Are you for or against?
I am for
You're
the
for.
motion.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, sir, unanimously approved based on those changes, and you heard them. You're okay?
Yes, sir. And thank you very much, members of the committee.
Thank you. Item number 35, which is 63 Northwood Drive, application number 35. And here we have Sia Zanjani. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Okay, so could you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, my name is Sia Zanjani, and from 15 Allstate Parkway, Markham, and I'm the architect and the applicant on behalf of the owner of 63
Thank you.
Northwood Drive.
Okay, this is a new dwelling with 9 variances. There is 7 letters of support. We have forestry, and staff report has a condition. Could you please make a 5-minute presentation as to the merit of the application?
Absolutely. I'll try to be as quick as possible. So I'd like to start by going over some of the main items. And I'd like to start with variance number 7 first, since this variance has also triggered 2 other variances, which are 5 and 6. So at the front of the proposed dwelling on the east side, we have a minor projection of about 0.6 meters into the side yard. So the main reason for this projection was to provide the space that we desperately needed inside the house at the front to design a fairly modest size of workspace, a home office, if you will, for the owners, since they work from home on a full-time basis. At the same time, if we were to look at the site plan and the adjacent neighbor to the east, number 65, you can see that this precisely follows or mimics their sidewall condition, where they also have a reduced side yard setback of 1.2 at the front portion. And then past this portion, we jog back, and for the remainder of the building, the majority of the sidewall, we fully comply with the 1.8 meter side yard setback all the way to the back. In addition to that, there are many approved precedents in the area with the same side yard setback of 1.2, which I'd be glad to share with committee members if need be. So as a result of this reduced side yard setback, we have variances 5 and 6 that are very minor in nature, but somewhat tied to this variance. Going back to the top of To the top of the list, variance number 1. This is where the rear porch is slightly longer at almost 3 meters, while permitted length is 2.5 meters. Again, if we compare this with the adjacent neighbor to number 65, which would be to the left of us on the site plan on the screen, we can see that their porch barely reaches the back wall of their house. And also, since the porch is located at the center of the house, away from the building corners, it will have no impact on the privacy of the neighbors. Plus, it's just not large enough to accommodate any kind of large gatherings. Again, I want to emphasize that owners have discussed the variances with, especially this one, with both owners, and none of them had any concerns. Variance number 2 deals with the overall height of the front and rear wall. This is inherent in the overall design language of the house and the design of the front wall, which has a raised a decorative parapet, flat parapet at the front. There are many examples like this in the area, one of which we actually designed a few houses down at 71 Northwood, which was approved with similar heights and design. And then along the side walls, then this height drops substantially, since we have a standard pitched roof with overhangs on the side, which is hiding behind this parapet. Variance number 3 deals with the building length. For this, I'd like to clarify that our building length is 17.5 and 17.8 at the longest point. The 18.21 that you see includes a portion of the front porch that encroaches into the front yard. The height and size of the porch are fully compliant with the bylaws, and the porch itself is fairly low and mainly screened by landscaping, so it should not have any impact on the perceived length of the house. Variance number 4 is also related somewhat to number 3, which is the building depth, which in part is triggered by the placement of the building on site. Since we wanted our front wall to be aligned with the second floor of the adjacent neighbor, to kind of respect that and open up the views for them. Therefore, we pushed the building slightly back, which has triggered this variance. 5, 6, 7 we already discussed, and then finally 8 and 9 are from the old bylaw. They are minor in nature, in my opinion, and then in both cases we are fully compliant under the new bylaw, both in terms of the building height and the height of front porch. Again, as you mentioned, we have 7 letters of support and no opposition or concerns from any of the neighbors, and that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members. Okay, there is no other speaker, so any question for this speaker? No. And if no questions, how about a motion? Miss Satarodi?
Yes. Through you, Mr. Chair. I listened to the applicant and read the city staff report. So I believe that this is minor, and therefore I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with only one condition from city staff, that the proposal be built substantially accordance with east and west elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, attachment 1, 2, 3, and no other condition.
And forestry, there's forestry there, huh? There is forestry, yeah. You're okay with forestry?
I didn't mark forestry on my paper, but if there is there any urban forestry?
Or is forestry condition number 2, yeah.
Yeah, okay, if there is, then consider that too, subjected to urban forestry.
Thank you. Second. Miss Manning, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Sir, your application is approved, subject to the staff condition to build in accordance to east and west elevation drawings and subject to forestry.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, application number 37, which is 19 Southwell Drive, application number 37. And here we have, from 37, you've got Joe Dom. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address for the record so it can be recorded on the system?
Yes, my name is Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Thank you. So we have here like addition of a deck and a porch and 3 variances. And that's it. So members, do we need a presentation here?
No.
Yes?
Just an explanation regarding variance 3.
Okay, Mr. Dome.
So,
go ahead. You know what? Why don't you make a
Yes.
make a short presentation, please?
Yeah, that's okay. The owners have lived here at this address since 2010. The current bungalow has 3 small bedrooms with 1 bathroom above ground, and due to family livability needs, including 2 growing teenagers, the owners would like to propose constructing the additions before you today, and we have 3 variances. The lot coverage variance number 1 is proposing a small increase to 28.6%, which is necessary to convert the existing carport to an attached garage with 2 legal parking spaces. There have been some issues with wildlife on the driveway, specifically squirrels, and the owners would really appreciate being able to park both cars in a garage. Variance number 2 refers to the proposed side main wall height of 8.05 meters, which only pertains to a small portion less than long and set back far from the adjacent property. It's not located on the south side of the proposed addition, but rather toward the middle of the dwelling, as shown on the west elevation A306. For the side setback variance of 1.17 meters is necessary to build a garage with 2 legal parking spaces where the carport currently exists. The impact would be mitigated by the fact that the other side setback is greater than the bylaw. The main wall height along the south setback is under 7 meters, whereas the bylaw allows 7.5 meters. The second floor is stepped back from the side lot line, and there is no overall height variance requested. Finally, planning has no objections to the application, and overall we feel this application is reasonable and minor in nature. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any other question? Can I have motion, please? Miss Tarodi?
You're muted.
Mr. Tarodi, you had your hands. Are you making a motion?
Yes, I was, but I was unmuted. Just unmuted myself.
Oh.
So, through you, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Second? Miss Manning, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Joe, you're okay with that too? Okay. So,
yes.
Your application is approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you very much.
Number 38, which is 119 Brookdale, application number 38. And here we have Monica Kuhn. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, it's Monica Kuhn, Kuhn, and address is 12 Sackville Place.
Okay, so we have here an addition, a rear deck and a shed, 6 variances. You have 15 letters of support, and forestry just a questionable. Okay. Now, can you make a very short presentation, please? You have 6 variances.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we did send a letter out explaining the variances to the neighbors, which you have in your file. And just to let you know that we've got support from both adjacent neighbors. And also we've got, I sent in a list of Committee of Adjustment precedent cases in the neighborhood on Brookdale and the surrounding streets. And what we're proposing is very much in line with what's been approved previously. First variance has to do with the stairs on the rear deck. This portion of the bylaw typically refers to front porches, so it's kind of weird that it's applied to the rear deck. But anyway, we just wanted to make sure that we had, the deck is quite low to the ground, and we wanted to have stairs all the way up on both sides of the deck to access the garden. The second one has to do with rear yard soft landscaping. We currently are at 0.47. We'd like to go down to 39.61, so 40, almost 40. And that's due to the larger deck and a bit bigger shed. We're asking for permitted FSI of 0.76, where 0.69 is allowed. As you'll see in your precedent lists that I sent you, there are many that are between 0.77 and 0.89, which are more than the 0.76 that we're asking for. The number 4 is the front yard setback. This refers, right now it's an existing setback to the existing enclosed front porch on the ground floor. The proposal here is to build an addition over a second floor addition over top of this front porch. And so that 3.64 would relate to the addition on the second floor. It already exists on the ground floor, the 3.64. Roof eaves and side yard setback, this refers, 5 and 6 refer to the west side of the house. We're just extending a condition that already exists for the existing main west wall length. We're coming in at 0.37 to match the wall behind facing west, and the eaves are extending beyond that and are at 0 setback from the property line.
That's it?
Yeah, I think so, unless you have any questions.
Well, we'll see if there's any question. Any questions, members? No? Can I have a motion then? Can we have a motion? Going once? Okay. Mr. Tarodi, please go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. When I first look at this application, variance number 2 was my concern, but since the applicant explained that existing situation is 47%, so this change is not a big change, and the rest of them, like the west side yard setback, is due to some existing situation. Therefore, I believe that this, for me, this is a minor variance, and I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application and with no condition.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Bartolo, seconding. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Your application is approved unanimously, and there is no conditions. So now...
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I need a motion to terminate. Motion to terminate.
Yes, motion to terminate at almost 6 o'clock, 5:58 p.m.
Thank you. Second. Okay, thank you. 2 seconds. All in favor? Anyone who wants to stay here can stay here. Okay, thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night. See you later.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good night.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
See you. Bye.
Phew.